Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, India's G20 presidency, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns. In collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India, Sri Research Institute, Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's sessions. Today, we are commemorating Nelson Mandela International Day. As quoted, it is easy to break down and destroy. The heroes are those who make peace and build. So as we know, making something or creating something or inventing something, discovering something takes a lot of time and efforts, energy, resources. But destroying is very simple. We have seen how we are able to, use resources in earlier days, earlier times. But now, it has become easy way to destroy the nature, the planet, the ecosystem, the biodiversities. It is very easy to destroy. It is very easy to pollute all the rivers now, which has happened. But how difficult it is to regenerate, to repurify all the rivers in the planet. We have human beings, we have created such a situation that due to climate change, global greenhouse gas emissions, and various other factors, today, many species got extinct. Now, can we get them back? So destroying is very easy. You don't need much efforts, But that's why he has said it is easy to break down and destroy. But it takes a lot of efforts. The heroes are those who make the peace and build it. As we know, he is one of the pioneers in promoting peace. On 18th July every year, on the occasion of Nelson Mandela's birthday, Nelson Mandela International Day is celebrated by making a difference in our communities. Everyone has the ability, the responsibility to change the world for the better. And this is the occasion for all to take an action and inspire the change. Nelson has devoted his life to the service of humanity as a human rights lawyer, a prisoner of conscience, an international peacemaker and the first democratically elected president of a free South Africa. So to his credit, he has 67 years in the service of humanity. So November 2009, in recognition of the former South Africa's president's contribution to the culture of peace and freedom, UN General Assembly declared 18th July Nelson Mandela International Day. Wide Resolution 64 by 30 recognizes Mandela's values and his dedication to the service of humanity in conflict, resolution, race relations, promotion and protection of human rights, reconciliation, gender equality, and the rights of children and other vulnerable groups, the fight against poverty, promotion of social justice. The resolution acknowledges his contribution to the struggle for democracy internationally and the promotion of a cultural peace thought throughout the world. December 2015, the General Assembly decides to extend the scope of Nelson Mandela's International Day to also to be utilized in order to promote humane conditions of imprisonment, raise awareness about prisoners being a continuous part of the society, and to value the work of prison staff as a social service of particular importance. So General Assembly Resolution 70 by 175 not only adopted the revised United Nations Standards minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners, but also approved that they should be known as Nelson Mandela rules in order to honor the legacy of the late president of South Africa, who spent 27 years in the prison in the course of his struggle referred to the above. So it is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. A nation should not be judged by how it treats its highest citizens, but its lowest ones, as quoted by Nelson Mandela. So these are the rules. Which are also known as Nelson Mandela's rules. In 1955, the first United Nations Congress on the Prevention of Crime and Treatment of Offenders, the standard minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners, originally adopted by the first UN Congress on the Prevention of Crime and Treatment of Offenders in 1955, constitute the universally acknowledged minimum standards for the management of prison facilities and the treatment of prisoners, and have been of tremendous value and influence in the development of prison laws, policies, and practices in member states all over the world. In 2011, open-ended intergovernmental expert group in recognition of the advances in the international law and correctional science since 1955. However, the General Assembly decided in 2011 to establish an open-ended intergovernmental expert group to review and possibly revise rules. Relevant UN bodies, other international and regional organizations, as well as civil society were invited to contribute to the process. As the custodian of the standard minimum rules, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC in short, closely accompanied the revision process by serving as its secretariat. 2015 Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, in short known as CCPCJ, at its fourth meeting held in Cape Town, South Africa in March 2015, the expert group reached consensus on all the rules opened for the revision. In May 2015, the Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice, CCPCJ, endorsed the revised rules and submitted the entire set of revised SMRs for approval to the Economic and Social Council ECO SOC in short, and subsequent adoption by the General Assembly. In 2015, the Nelson Mandela Rules was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in December 2015 and revised the rules as the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the treatment of prisoners. As per the recommendations of the expert group, the revised rules are to be known as the Nelson Mandela Rules to honor the legacy of the late President of South Africa, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison in the course of his struggle for global human rights, equality, democracy, and promotion of a culture of peace. So these are the important milestones. So the first United Nations Congress on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice in Geneva, 1955, adoption of the minimum standard rules for the treatment of prisoners and mandate of revision in 2011. Sorry, earlier was 1955. In 2011, mandate for revision, General Assembly 2011. And after review process from 2011 to 2014, consensus on all revisions in Cape Town 2015, and finally, United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for the treatment of prisoners were endorsed and approved by the Commission on Crime Prevention and Criminal Justice and the Economic and Social Council, and finally adopted by the General Assembly. We'll watch a short video.
The worldwide prison population has exceeded 10 million persons and continues to grow. Despite this number, prisoners are rarely part of the public discourse. After all, they are physically separated from society and seem to disappear behind walls, gates, and locked doors. What happens behind these walls? What is done to not only ensure secure and safe custody, but also humane treatment behind bars? Given that the vast majority of prisoners eventually return to society, these questions are of paramount importance for any efforts to effectively protect society from crime. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, assists countries around the world in reforming the prison systems in line with international minimum standards for the treatment of prisoners. Very often, the initial situation on the ground looks dire.
A large number of prison systems around the world are in a state of crisis. Crisis means severe prison overcrowding, poor prison conditions, the spread of infectious diseases, including HIV, large numbers of pre-trial detainees, and high rates of recidivism, all of which come at tremendous economic and social costs.
In response to this crisis, UNODC has developed a comprehensive strategy on addressing the global prison crisis aimed at three mutually reinforcing objectives.
The first objective is to reduce the scope of imprisonment by assisting countries in preventing crime, in strengthening access to legal aid, and in increasing access to non-custodial sanctions. The second objective focuses on improving prison conditions, including technical assistance to provide for safe and secure prison settings, as well as to secure the humane treatment of prisoners. Thirdly, UNODC supports the social reintegration of offenders upon release, including post-release support services and initiatives to prepare the community to receive former prisoners. In all areas, care is taken to account for the specific needs of women and children.
The implementation of this strategy builds on prison reform programs already operational in different parts of the world. In the Kyrgyz Republic, the prison system struggles with a number of challenges related to resources, security, and overall conditions of imprisonment. Since 2009, UNODC is partnering with the Kyrgyz Prison Service in order to improve prison conditions, including by supporting income-generating activities for prisoners. From morning to evening, these women operate their sewing machines.
Do not judge, and you will not be judged. No one is protected against such a life. I always wanted to become a seamstress, but I only managed to learn sewing here. You see how life works out.
The sewing workshop is located in a large building that has been renovated. Before there were only 30 sewing machines. Now there are 85. This means the women can now sew more and better at the prison. Prisoners make clothes for the staff of the prison service, other state agencies and private companies. They earn a decent salary, which they can use to support their families and children. Prison staff in prison number 3 have further developed a business plan to replace bakery equipment and boost bread production. This plan has now been turned into reality with the support of UNODC. Employing prisoners apart, there are many other unresolved issues in Kyrgyzstan's prisons. Sanitary conditions in prisons, for example, have become a serious challenge. The project therefore spent significant resources to renovate bath and laundry facilities, water supply, sewage and ventilation systems in 4 prisons, benefiting around 3,000 prisoners.
Prisoners are citizens just like anyone else. They are just deprived of liberty, separated from other people. They are incarcerated to serve their punishment, but they should not be deprived of normal living conditions.
Hargeisa prison. In spite of a serious lack of resources in Somaliland, UNODC's counter-piracy program opened this 590-bed facility in 2010. In addition to the construction, UNODC has provided for extensive training of Somali prison staff, including through the work of international prison mentors who are based in Hargeisa and who provide continuous advice and on-the-job training for their Somali peers. The program also helps prisoners in learning new skills, such as woodwork, carpentry, welding and house wiring. Once they have learned the fundamentals, they are engaged to work in building and maintenance projects around the prison facility.
It means they are getting the knowledge.
It means they are getting the knowledge how to do a house wiring, domestic house wiring. Once they have finished this course, they are having enough knowledge to do their own jobs, so that is their future.
The new training unit in Hargeisa prison now also runs a concrete block-making plant which has already received orders for 15,000 bricks, as well as providing many of the inmates with skills they will be able to transfer to the outside world. It is an important revenue stream for the prison service, for which budgets are always tight. Prisoners now also have access to a sports area, which includes a large yard and basketball court, an opportunity for physical exercise which has obviously fallen on fertile grounds. In Panama, UNODC assists the government in the reform of its penitentiary system since 2010, with technical assistance services ranging from legislative assistance, capacity building for prison staff, educational programs for prisoners, as well as anti-corruption measures in prisons.
Con el apoyo financiero y técnico de UNODC se han creado nuevos proyectos.
With the financial and technical support of the UNODC, new productive projects have been developed, such as hydroponics and tailoring in various prisons, as well as 4 computer training rooms. One very innovative activity was the launching of the campaign Donate a Book to the Prison. So far, over 8,000 books have been donated, which has enabled the opening of libraries in different penitentiary centers around the country. Also, the campaign No to Corruption was developed and institutionalized, which has simplified the reporting of corruption cases to the telephone number 311, ensuring a quick response to complaints and allegations. The prison service, working closely with UNODC and the Regional Anti-Corruption Academy, has further drafted and published a code of ethics for prison staff. On the other hand, we have been able to develop information leaflets for prisoners, such as on rights and obligations, commutation of sentences, and eligibility for parole, as well as technical guidance material and handbooks for prison personnel. With the support of the UNODC, the General Office of the Penitentiary System has also improved its website, facilitating the transparency and accountability of prison management.
Besides the provision of technical assistance, the UN has a long tradition of promoting the humane treatment of prisoners by assisting member states in identifying and adopting international standards related to prison management.
The UN has never closed its eyes to the plight of prisoners and the complex task of prison administration. Proof of this can be seen in the adoption of the standard minimum rules for the treatment of prisoners in 1957. These rules have offered valuable guidance to policymakers, prison managers, and prison staff for almost 6 decades.
As the custodian of these rules, UNODC played a crucial role when in 2011 member states embarked upon the ambitious project of revising the standard minimum rules for the 21st century. After almost 5 years of negotiations, assisted by civil society, a revised set of the rules was agreed upon, which will be known as the Nelson Mandela Rules, a major breakthrough in the normative framework applicable to the treatment of prisoners. Based on its experience and strategic approach to addressing global prison challenges, UNODC stands ready to assist member states in the practical application of the Nelson Mandela Rules.
In our efforts to make societies more resilient to crime and to promote social cohesion and the rule of law, we cannot disregard those in prison. We must remember that prisoners continue to be part of every society and must be treated with respect due to their inherent dignity and as human beings. I invite countries, international organizations, and civil society to join forces and to make these revised rules a reality for prisons everywhere.
Thus, UNODC has putting various efforts in improving the prisoners' conditions and prisons' treatment. Prisons' conditions and prisoners' treatment. So Nelson was born on July 18, 1918 and was a South African revolutionary political leader. Mandela was known for all good work he had done, but he is best known as the first Black president of South Africa. His government focused on dismantling apartheid and its legacy of institutional racism and fostering interracial reconciliation in the country. He was also a Nobel Peace Laureate the father of the nation, and the mother and a man who genuinely cared for his people. These are just few reasons for celebrating his legacy on this special day. His actualized mandates and his political stance and strength and valor are few reasons he is idolized to date. Mandela was born in Umata in South Africa's Cape Province, and he attended a local school at age 7 and was raised in the Thembu region. His secondary education began at Chertbury High School in 1933 when he completed his junior certificate in 2 years. In 1937, he attended Hilldown College, and by 1913, he began studying for a BA degree at the University of Fort Hare. Here, Mandela studied anthropology, English, politics, native administration, and Roman Dutch law in his first year. However, he got suspended after a boycott against the university's poor food quality. He later enrolled at the University of Witwatersrand to study law. Mandela was only Black African student there and faced elevated heights of racism. Due to this political interest, he failed his final exam thrice and got denied his law degree in 1949. After South African National Party's white-only government established laws of apartheid that favored whites, Mandela, as an ANC member, sought to overthrow the government. He often got arrested, and in July 1952, he stood trial and was found guilty of statutory communism, the then legal term for anti-apartheidism. He opened law firm with Oliver Tambo in August 1953. At that time, Mandela and Tambo was the only law firm in the country that was Black operated, and it was popular with aggrieved Blacks. He was arrested in December 1956 alongside other ANC national executives on charges of high treason against the state. The formal trial began in August 1958, and by 1961, Mandela was found not guilty. He was arrested again in 1962 August for inciting worker strikes and leaving the country without permission, and he was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment for this crime. While in person, Mandela received new conspiracy charges and went on to trial that was tagged. The Rivona trial, he found guilty on 4 counts of treason and sentenced to life imprisonment. Mandela and his co-accused were transferred to the Robben Island prison in 1964, where they remained for 18 years. So Mandela's time in prison was terrible. He worked in a lime quarry, and the glare permanently damaged his sight. As a Class D inmate, he received a letter or a visit once every 6 months. He also lost his mother and his firstborn son, Thembi, during his time in prison. In 1975, he became a Class A prisoner and was allowed many visitors and letters. Mandela was transferred to Pollsmoor prison in April 1982. Due to dwindling foreign investment in South Africa, he was offered release with a clause to denounce violence as political measure in February 1985. He refused, and on his 70th birthday in 1988, a tribute concert was held at London's Wembley Stadium in his honor. He was moved to Victor Verster prison in 1988, and in February 1990, he was released from the prison after the then president considered apartheid so unsustainable. And Mandela spent nearly 3 decades in the prison before his release. He resumed his political interest immediately after. He sought to end apartheid and became the first Black African president of South Africa in 1990. As president, Mandela achieved many notable things, including land reforms, poverty alleviation, and others. In his lifetime, he received over 250 honors, including the Nobel Peace Prize. He is regarded as a beacon of democracy and social justice. Mandela was a phenomenal man who shared his trials and tribulations with his family and loved ones. He was married 3 times and bore 7 children. His legacy lives on in the hearts of the people he touched and through the Nelson Mandela's Foundation. Mandela's patrilineal great-grandfather was the king of Thembu people, so he was royalty. Due to British bias in the education system, Mandela was given the English name Nelson in the school by his teacher. Mandela had a great interest in gardening and he loved gardening. Mandela worked on obtaining his law degree from the University of London while in prison. So you can watch for further information or to enjoy as a movie, you can watch Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, which was released in 2013. So today we are also commemorating World Listening Day, and it's the sound of the World Listening Day, which is hosted every year by the World Listening Project, a non-profit organization that is devoted to understanding the world and its natural environment, societies, and cultures through the practice of listening and field recording. They explore acoustic ecology, a discipline that studies the relationship between humans and the natural world as mediated through sound. So quiet down, open up your ears, and get to study soundscapes on this World Listening Day. Practice less talking and more listening. And this day also honors the birthday of Raymond Murray Schafer, a Canadian composer and environmentalist who is seen as the founder of acoustic ecology. Born on July 18, 1933, he developed his World Soundscape Project, which laid foundation, ideas, and practices of acoustic ecology in 1970s. So this day was established in 2010, and each year has a specific theme tied to it. Past themes include H20, Sounds Lost and Found, and Listen to You. And 2017's theme was Listening to the Ground, which honored the life and legacy of American composer Pauline Olivers, who once said, "Sometimes we walk on the ground, sometimes on sidewalks or asphalt or other surfaces. Can we find ground to walk on, and can we listen for the sound or sounds of the ground? Are we losing ground? Can we find new ground by listening for it?" Check it out. Since the holiday's inception or commemoration, thousands of people from around the world have participated in its celebration. The theme of recent World Listening Day 2021 is the Unquiet Earth, created by Lisbon-based filmmaker, curator, and organizer Raquel Ostro. So listening is indeed an art that requires undivided attention and patience from a person and benefits another who is in need of it. Listening is also beneficial for the listener, improving their listening skills and sharpening their awareness of their surroundings. As important as our sense of hearing is, we often don't use it effectively, blocking out most sounds and voices, not really listening to the message. Canadian composer and music educator R. Murray Schafer is born on July 18, 1933, who is musical prodigy. Schafer's Word Soundscape project paves the way for acoustic ecology in 1970s, and World Listening Day is created in honor of R. Murray Schafer and his contributions on 2010. So while with the hustle and bustle of daily life, we rarely stop to not just hear, but actually listen to our surroundings. The surroundings around us, what other people are trying to communicate, and even our inner voices. Technology and non-stop hustling prevent us from shutting out the noise and listen intently. So talking less and listening more is practiced on this day. Listening to friends, family, and having heart-to-heart conversations with patience are encouraged on this day. Comforting others and being there for them by listening to them is therapeutic and beneficial for both the listener and the speaker. Staying silent and contemplating the world around us by listening calms and soothes our thoughts. The aim of the day is to cultivate better listening and understanding and learning from this underrated act. So women tend to be better listeners. Research shows that women engage both lobes of their brains for listening, whereas men use only half of their brains. And listening to music creates a stress-free environment. For example, listening to music before surgery reduces cortisol levels, and it helps some students relax and study better before an exam. Researchers have found that listening to relaxing music while eating at a restaurant resulted in diners consuming 175 fewer calories. So listening can also help you lose weight. Listening is a skill. Less than 2% of the people have had formal education on how to effectively listen. To become an effective listener, it is important to not to assume, refrain from making judgments, and hold our thoughts to really listen to what the other person is trying to convey. So it gives us an excuse to quiet down. If you are saying them, you are reading them, listening to someone else, or even thinking them, these days a reason to go back away from words and hear the sounds between and around them. Think of its way, depending on where are you or where you live and how you move throughout your day. Every person has a completely unique soundtrack that plays behind their daily routine. Car noise, wind in the ears, or silverware hitting a plate, or clicks from a keyboard, papers rustling. You are so accustomed to these sounds that you probably don't even think about the fact that you are hearing them. But we bet you will now since then. So whether you live in the middle of a bustling city, out in the quiet suburb, or way out to a remote farm, the principles of acoustic ecology can be applied to your life. That means you don't have to go an inch out of your way to celebrate the World Listening Day. Today is also commemorated as Insurance Nerd Day in US. An insurance nerd is a person who loves working for an insurance company. And well, their hobbies may include talking about insurance in their free time, convincing others about how not boring the insurance industry is, reading insurance publications, and posting about insurance on their social media. Nothing but insurance. So if you have some friends are with hobbies like that, then they are definitely insurance nerds. And today is their day. Insurance Nerd Day was first celebrated in 2016. It is said that the insurance industry is facing talent gaps. So Pioneer State Mutual Insurance Company declared July 18, 2016 as Insurance Nerd Day to celebrate their employees and encourage other insurance professionals to take part in the breaking the stereotype that industry is boring. Besides, it's a means to attract young talents to enter the industry. Since then, Insurance Nerd Day has been celebrated annually so that hopefully the nerds can continue convincing others about how not boring the industry is. Whether the industry is boring or not, insurance nerds play an essential role in people's lives. They can be convincing enough to make people decide to pay for the insurance. It's because of these nerds and enthusiasm for working in the industry. Sure, insurance doesn't reduce the risks of unexpected events, but this insurance can help reduce financial losses in the event of those occurrences. Now we sound like one of the nerds. Anyway, having insurance probably won't hurt. And it doesn't mean that people expect the unfortunate. It's a form of risk management. There are different types of insurances, including health insurance, home insurance, vehicle insurance. Health insurance will cover the cost of medical treatments, and it is often part of employee benefits in most countries. So in the case of home insurance, it will cover a private resident, combining various personal protections, such as loss of personal possessions of homeowner and liability insurance for accidents happening at home. Last but not least, vehicle insurance will cover the damage to the vehicle, the legal responsibility to others for bodily injury and property damages, and the cost of treating injuries, rehabilitation, and even funeral expenses. So who is the insured person? Insured person is a person whose life is covered by insurance against the risk under the policy. So premium is the amount paid periodically by the insured to cover the risk. And pure risk is a hazard beyond human control, resulting in loss or no loss with possibility of financial gain. So talk to an insurance agent. Don't forget to thank them as appreciation for their valuable work and learn more about it, and finally get insurance. If you haven't got one, it's time to get one. Now you are reminded that insurance can help reduce financial losses in case of unexpected events. The word insurance derives from the French word insurer, which initially means engagement or to marry. Today is also commemorated as National Day per Your Data Day in US. It is a relatively new commemoration. The national event aims to raise awareness of one of today's most pressing concerns: data protection and security have become increasingly important challenges in recent years. As a result, numerous organizations around the world commemorate National Day per Your Data Day to remind consumers and officials about the significance of data security. Just a second. Yeah. So although data security and protection have become more important challenges on our hyper-connected world, numerous organizations and institutions as well as private corporations have been collecting data about markets and populations for decades. The earliest examples of what we call people data can be traced back to the first opinion polls. These surveys were mostly performed by research organizations to better understand market trends and customer perceptions of products and commercial brands, as well as to investigate voting patterns during political elections. For marketing organizations and market research, opinion polling and survey methodologies work exceptionally well. Denial starch and advertising executives and psychologists studied the responses of participants to specific advertisements in early 1920s, which was one of the first uses of polling techniques in marketing research. The founder of the Gallup Company, George Gallup, is widely regarded as one of the forefathers of current polling and survey methodology. One of the most used methods of data collection has remained to poll. Data can now be collected in a variety of ways on a much larger scale, thanks to the introduction of digital technology and information technology. As the several congressional hearings of heads of tech companies and social media platforms have shown, digital technology and artificial intelligence currently enable us to do much more with data, which can raise some ethical questions. To raise awareness of these risks, Dapper Data LLC, a US-based company specialized in data solutions, organized the first Dapper Your Day in 2020. So big data refers to the massive amounts of complex data, which often require complex algorithms and computers to analyze the study. The number of companies that gather data on users are increasingly rising as companies are gathering data on users and consumers in many countries. More than 60% of the companies in the world collect data. And data collected by the companies is generally used to better understand the preferences and needs of the client and users and provide more catered services. Personal data can also be used to better understand buying habits of consumers. So how do you observe National Dapper Your Data Day? The most important thing to accomplish during the commemoration is to put the celebration message into action. Although the procedure can be time-consuming, cleaning your data should not be difficult. Make a point of instilling these habits and sticking to them in future. Data safety is a relatively recent issue brought to the prominence mainly by the advent of digital economy and the role that data plays. There is extensive literature dedicated to this issue. Understanding the basics is the first step to truly comprehending its applications. Data security and compliance are currently evolving as one of the most pressing challenges of our time. You will be able to follow the progress of the current debate if you have a good understanding of the ramifications of this problem. So over 78% of all data that has been created in the previous 3 years alone, as data generation has increased in recent decades, which is massive amount every day that is data generated. Now, every click, every scroll, every slide we make on our mobile phone is the data that is being recorded by the mobile operators and, by the operating system and various apps. Even if you are watching Facebook, including, where you are stopping, on which image you are seeing, how much time you are spending on each image, and what are your preferences, likes, and where you are liking, where you are disliking, where you are spending more time, where you are spending less time, how much time you are taking to view your timeline or others' timeline or other groups or other pages. Everything is being noted down by Facebook, and even a similar way, even in WhatsApp, also in Instagram, Snapchat, almost all the platforms are now collecting all the data. Based on that, whatever you type, whatever you talk, whether you chat, similar ads you can see, similar photos you can see, similar text messages you can see. How this is happening? Because they are recording everything, and where you are spending, based on that you will get more content similar to that, so that they can make you vouch for more content, more products, more recommendations, so that it is very easy target for you, for them to sell their products and services and to provide customized content to what the user is looking for. So although data analysis has advanced significantly, most businesses are only able to examine roughly 1% of their entire data collected. This is because of the complexity of the data and also the voluminous of data. See, of course, data is being collected, but this is what big data is. Every second, you are collecting data from every user, and there are billions and millions of users across the world using different apps, there is a huge amount of data is generated. But now how you will analyze all this data? Not everyone uses. There are selective algorithms and selective programs that analyze certain data. Some do complete data for different reasons. Every organization has its own ways and means and methods to analyze the data for their own purpose or for the marketing. Especially we see all these, you don't pay anything for Google, using Google products or services. You don't pay anything. Facebook, initially they started as free, but now they are the most richest in the world. How did you think that without selling anything, they has become the richest in the world? Can anyone say? It's all because of our data, because we are storing everything, we are sharing everything. They are selling this data to others, and they are using this data to advertise, which are of our interest. So that is why they are making huge profits. And today, Facebook, this Meta founder is one of the richest in the world, and he is, dominating and declaring the social media world. And we have seen even in US elections, he was the one who, played a significant role. And even he has to face court trials because of supporting a political party and, running campaign and creating an opinion through social media, through his platforms, and able to influence whom to vote and various campaigns. So this social media has become a double-sided weapon for both, for good things as well as the bad things. Unfortunately, these giants, social media giants or online giants are highly biased and prejudiced because they want to make out of money. So you can see even any free company that is making is one of the top companies in the world. It's all because we are contributing. As much as we are using them, we are giving our data to them, and everything we store, all the accounts, all the information, our photos, everything is a data for them to monetize. So though they have data policy, but what goes behind the things, no one knows. And even we have seen various crimes, kidnaps and murders, or many things happened because the perpetrators were following them on social media, and it is easy for them to track where they are going, what they are doing, and it was easy for them to track the victim, track the target easily. So by hacking their phones and by hacking their accounts, and not only that, by just adding themselves as an friend or even as a visitor, as a online stalkers, they are observing each and everything on what we are posting, and basically that becomes a target even for the governments also. Those who are generally activists, who are uh, more into advocacy and activism, their accounts are actively monitored. Even nowadays, companies, these IT companies, irrespective of any companies, especially, even foreign countries, embassies, they have their own mechanisms, not embassy as such they are doing, but their countries have mechanisms that, once you apply for a visa or, or any other opportunities in other countries, they are also checking your social media accounts. So what kind of content you are posting, what kind of preferences you have in political, personal, economical or financial or psychologically, what are your interests, and what are your political inclinations, and all these they are checking, and what you are posting and what you are sharing, what you are liking, all these, they get data so that they know. In this way also people are, able to see and get the analysis that if a certain government, if there are elections, whom we prefer based on our likes and based on our preferences, based on our shares, based on our comments on postings, it is very easy. We can see if we are posting and sharing more of one political party or one leader, there is more likely that you are going to vote and you are going to support that party or that leader. So similar way, if you are posting, talking about something like you always talk about like shopping, or you always talk about latest trends, so it is more likely that you vouch for latest products and latest services which are more fashion and trendy. So similar ways, there are different kind of analysis that happens. And similarly, from automated computers to servers to smartphones and tablets, there are currently more than 50 billion smart link devices in use throughout the world and more. So individual internet users generate more than 60% of data available online, but organizations store 75% of it. So that's how there is a huge data every time you generate it. Even when we are talking also, this data is also is recorded and analyzed by computers. And and according to many estimations, each individual on an average creates 7 megabytes of information every second. Just imagine then if at least 50 million people or say 100 million people are using internet and are connected and sharing, how much data they would be generating. So this is vital and present topic with social media platforms and tech corporations routinely revising their privacy policies as well as rising discoveries about data gathering techniques. There is also so much to learn about, which is why this day is so important. People have been exposed to greater technology and departments in communication and media in the last few decades than ever before. And this would have necessitated a significant shift in our digital media safety practices, but it is rarely done. This serves as a reminder to be cautious with our data. This day serves as a reminder to look into various methods we can protect our data. This information can also then be shared with family members. Today is also commemorated as National Sour Candy Day. This is a kind of candy. Our taste buds are already tingling by hearing this candy, those who are fond of candies. especially commemoration is in US. And sweet candy and, these fun, tasty, bite-sized candies comes in all shapes, sizes, and flavors. And, generally people can't wait to taste them. From chewy twists and ropes to small hard candies, each one delivers on its own promise to create a walloping big punch of soreness inside our mouths. So the the American Licorice Company, who had their own sour candy line, founded National Sour Candy Day. They wanted to celebrate the sweet, and they encouraged more people to experience all the wonderful flavors of sour candy on this day. Actually, 19th century, candy has a bad reputation. Mass-produced candy is looked upon with trepidation by most consumers, and candy makers don't want to risk experimenting with taste for fear of losing credibility. And in 1950s, candy makers create ad campaigns that forever link candy to Halloween. Doing this also allows them the freedom to slowly introduce new flavors and types of candy. So it was a safe platform for them, occasion for them to introduce new flavors. If they like, they use; otherwise, they simply, forget that and think that it is a Halloween surprise. So it was safe to retain their reputation. So while as a popular treat, eating too many sour candies, as with any sweet, can cause dental issues and other problems. So additionally, as sour candies contain a high level of acid, eating too many of them erodes the enamel of the teeth and also can cause other health issues. So if at all you are consume in a very little quantity occasionally. Today is also commemorated as Perfect Family Day, which is celebrated annually on July 18th. We believe that a perfect family exists, at least. So even the perfect families must have their up and downs. So perfect means having perfect up and downs. So no family is perfect without having ups and downs. And it is not the one without problems, but it is the one that can handle the problems together based on love and respect. So love, respect, trust, and understanding seems to be some of the essential qualities in building and maintaining a perfect family. Without these qualities, it is hardly imaginable. So does your family have these qualities? So the definition of perfect family may differ from one family to another. And that's not the problem. We believe that a perfect family exists because it can be built. It can rise on the foundation of love, respect, trust, and understanding. Whether it may be a nuclear family, extended family, or a single parent family, it can be a perfect as long as every member knows the foundation. You cannot expect to have understanding children, for example, if you don't teach and show them how to be understanding. That's why parents play an important role in building a perfect family. Parenting encourages and supports the child development emotionally, physically, socially, and intellectually. So good parenting is needed to establish a perfect family. Parents were once a child, so there is a possibility that the way they were raised as a child can affect the way they raise their children. There are various styles of parenting, and the styles with high chances of a result in a perfect family include slow parenting, positive parenting, nurturant parenting, and dolphin parenting. Parents hold the key to building a perfect family. Though through slow parenting, you can allow your child to explore the world at their own pace. While with positive parenting, you can incorporate organized activities to foster your children's talents. The nurturing parenting style helps offer developmental or development opportunities for your children and their temperaments, while the dolphin parenting style can maintain balance in your children's lives, authoritative but not authoritarian. So the ability to establish a perfect family depends on how effectively you as parents master and apply your good parenting skills. That's why always, uh, when children are doing something wrong, which is not expected, even adults also at times, people keep saying, this is how your parents have brought up, or this is how, your parents has taught to behave like that. So it is common, generally we see people tell that. So it's all very important for parents in their upbringing, how they have raised their children. So often, many times the behavior of the children, even as adults, if we see, we can see how their parents have raised them. Because of that, today they are, see, that's a problem even with the present situation also. As a parents, we were not good parents, especially in conservation and protection of nature. And we were, as a parents were very exploitative, very demanding, very competitive, and more materialistic. That's why these generations are also have become like that. And parents are also encouraging more daycare centers, more hostels, and even for the aged also, they are sending aged people to old age homes. And what children will learn? Children will also learn the same thing. They will also not spend with their family members, and they will spend more time with peer group. And if peer group is good, then they will learn all good things and positive things. If they end up in risk-taking behaviors and deviant behaviors, they will join that group because of peer pressure, peer support, or peer conformity, and they will end up behaving like that. So it all depends on the parenting. That's why even today, though we are talking about gender equality, but even in that aspect also, men are not that good in bringing up families. Though men can, supplement, but they are not the replacement. They are just like a supplement who can assist them, or who can, help them, but they cannot completely take over. That is where many, nowadays, more and more families or family systems are breaking down, because women are not being recognized or not being valued of their, parenting roles and parenting duties. That's why even women today are not willing to take up family parenting duties, because they are not recognized for that. And today the entire basis is based on how much you earn and what position you are in a particular organization. That's why what they are also doing, they are putting some caretakers in home. Either, most of them are nuclear families. They hire someone, they keep maid. And anyway, and not everyone, unless and until it is your own child, the treatment is entirely different. And you are leaving your children with someone to take care of in daycare centers, and they will never take care as you take care, as you love them, as you nurture them. So it is very difficult nowadays, especially in this competitive world. And even daycare centers also, you see, they are highly crowded, highly commercialized. We have seen many reports that daycare centers are also drugging children so that they do not disturb them much. They drug the children and make them to sleep for hours together, and they do not provide proper care. And they also abuse. Abuse in the form is not just, direct abuse, but they neglect people. And because of that, lot of psychological and emotional issues pop up from since early childhood, and these carry on into their adulting, and they have that always that they are left out, they are neglected, they are dejected, they are discriminated, they are differentiated. This will carry on into their, teenage and old age and so on. And this will also impact their lifelong experiences. And they will tend to behave that, yes, tomorrow I also, they will also live. My parents also did not, they will think that as my parents left me in daycare centers, so I will also leave you. See, now I am in certain positions in spite of being daycare center. Why not you? Their parents generally say nowadays it is quite common. See, we are very busy and we are not able to take care of you. So you better, stay in some old age home or some care home where you can be as you like, because not everything cannot be prepared by you, because we have our own lives. This is a common thing that is heard from the families, especially when we are involving in geriatric counseling. We see a lot of such cases coming up where, again, and these aged population are also not so flexible due to various reasons. Of course, they have seen everything in their life. They have enjoyed everything in their life. Now, they also, to certain extent, have to give freedom. No, we should not involve in each and everything. And what that, what they eat, what they do, what they, when there are certain important decisions, we can involve as a suggestion, as an advice. We can always, at one point of time, no one would like to be handholded in everything. They also have own families, and especially we see because after marriage the dynamics keep changing, because the girl who leaves everything after getting married, she leaves her parents, she leaves her home, and she leaves everything and comes to a new family. And there, if she is treated as someone who is a third person in the family, that is where most of the problems start, because she thinks that I sacrifice everything for this, and I am not even treated as one of the family member. I am not respected. I am not valued as a family member. And she starts discriminating. And she wants also the husband or the spouse to also leave everything as she has left everything, and, go on a separate living. So these things are also happening. So all these are, in spite of, that is only physical proximity, but there are many other things that are contributing. The major point is, we should have, irrespective of where we are, how we are, that doesn't matter, as long as we have love, concern, respect, empathy, and caring, among ourselves, it doesn't matter. And we need to also learn to give some privacy, freedom, and independence to our children. Then only, they will be able to appreciate that. And nowadays, the society also is changing drastically. And because of this Western culture and new genders now, recently we have seen, more than 74 genders are recognized internationally, and which are popularly known, and more than 100 plus genders are there. And people are highly influenced, and, though there are only male and female, but they are being recognized as whatnot, and their own identity crisis is there, and the group they mingle with all are creating lot of complex issues. And again, these belief systems, so many religious systems, so many belief systems, so many cultures, all are creating a lot of, a kind of complexity where people are into dilemma of what to follow, what not to follow, what to do, what not to do, which to practice, what not to practice, which ritual to perform, which not to perform. And again, within the same, there are so many variations that people just literally want to get out of all these things and live as they want to live. That's all. So today, the present generation is becoming, because we are making things complex and complex. So people don't want to follow anything. They just want to, wake up, eat, sleep, work, and more or less they are becoming mechanical, like machines they want to be. So these all are, impacts of parenting, because we don't value if we don't teach our own rich cultures and traditions and knowledge about that and why we are practicing and how they are relevant even in today's context, and how they are going to help our future generations and us in different ways. They will be ignorant of that, and that is why a lot of things happening. Now, earlier, because of joint family, lot of things they were learning within the family, because if even in a joint family, when baby is born, everyone was getting an opportunity to take care of the baby. So they were seeing everything from day one, till the baby grows up to an adult. So everyone in the family, they know how to take care of a baby, when to feed, how to take care of the baby, how to give bath. But because of nuclear families and even girls and boys, no one is, irrespective of any gender, both are not aware of how the baby is, brought up. So that is why now today people are, even if couple are before deciding to get into a family, planning for a child itself, now even hospitals are organizing classes, various training sessions for to-be parents, because they also don't know how to take care. They even don't know, though they read so much on the internet, they are more confused rather than more being informed. So all these issues are there which are contributing. But in spite of that, all these challenges, when we have these qualities, we can have a perfect family. So perfect family doesn't mean that it doesn't have any issues or problems or any ups and downs. It means in spite of everything, we are together, we are loving each other, we are respecting each other, and we are caring for each other. And we support each other. So today, because of these various factors, the nuclear family is believed to be the ideal family structure to raise children. And healthy family relationships are when people trust and rely on each other for support, love, affection, and warmth. So whatever happened is happened, but at least from now onwards, if you are a parent or a to-be parent or a to-be future parent, doesn't matter. But spend quality time together and improve parenting skills. You work on your parenting skills and call your parents and talk to them. Thank them for teaching good things so that now you can teach to your children or in future. So treat your kids with respect. Always, with this Western culture, we have spoiled the entire system of respecting a children. We see in our culture, or especially even if it is a child also, he is called with his complete name with all due respect. Like, if you say suppose if we are addressing some Sri, there is some person like Sri. So we will call Sri Ji or Sri Garu. Even if it is a child also, if a child names, a boy or a girl name is also Sri, then we address them as Sri Garu or Sri Ji. Why? Because the child learns it from early childhood that, irrespective of one's age, one status, one educational qualification, one society, everyone needs to be respected. That's how child learns and reciprocates to everyone, irrespective of whether it is small. Even to other child also, he will communicate saying that some XG or YG. So child starts learning from that. But now, what generally people call, now it is become trend. You call, mother will call his daughter or son, if it is a female, she keeps calling mummy, and father will call daddy. And what mummy, daddy will teach them? Nothing. So you cannot call everyone mummy, daddy, right? Again, that will create one more confusion, whether who is the parent. So these kind of, practices which we are following nowadays doesn't serve any purpose. Again, it is a confusion, who is dad to whom and who is mom to whom. Whether your child is dad to you or whether you are a dad to your child. So this is a problem, without understanding. If you follow, if you practice that someone else is following, you are also blindly like a scapegoats. No, we have become the scapegoats of the alien culture, and we are practicing, we are only destroying, and tomorrow we are blaming someone else. Because we ourselves are doing these things. So if we practice like that, you see how children will very well address. But now itself you say, now only we discriminate, see that religion, this fellow, we should not, give respect, we should differentiate, we should discriminate. From childhood itself, we are teaching them. So we should be very careful, especially, when we are sending children to schools where there are orthodox, practices that are happening. We should be very careful, especially because these young minds are being converted, and, these are spoiled by these orthodox institutions where they, forcibly instill these, orthodox religious and all these things into their mind, and they spoil their young minds. And they will think that they will live forever, live in such illusion. So all these things are there, complex things, but there is no one to tell. Even if someone is there to tell, there is no one to listen. Today being at least World Listening Day, hope at least we will listen to someone, or we will also try to not enforce them or emboss them or bombard them, but at least try to give some good suggestions or advice to someone else, not just as for the sake of giving, but to enlighten them with the proper knowledge. So give praise. So don't name call or hit kids, because they can learn this behavior from you. And don't, many of the behaviors, like, if a child cries, you are immediately giving mobile or tab to him or her. So this is how from an early childhood, they are getting addicted to screen, and the screen time is increasing, and they are getting to addicted to gadgets. And now you blame that my child is always, sticking to gadgets. Means who is the one first to give? You are only one, because you want the boy or the girl to be engaged without disturbing you. So you are giving it and asking them to watch all these videos. Again, here also one more problem is that we have seen many children are unexpectedly exposed to a lot of violence, even pornography also, because of the ads. Many times when we watch videos on YouTube, like movies or songs, there are certain ads that are being played, and which we wantedly or no wantedly, we have very limited control. Though we set parental controls also, still there are some ads, and you cannot do anything. And we have seen many cases, especially in children. Many children are getting exposed, getting addicted. Once they accidentally come to watch certain ads that are coming in between, they might be from some movies, but slowly they keep searching for similar content and they end up getting addicted. And slowly they want to experiment also. And we have seen many children that also not from college days. We have seen from many school children who, that too belonging to primary class, and it's very shocking for us. They were trying, they experimented also, engaging in all sexual or intercourse activities also, because they want to experiment and see how it is actually. So these things happen, and who is responsible for that? Now parents are to be blamed because they are not taking care. At least some parents, after that, a lot of awareness is created. Some parents are, downloading the content, not giving them directly on the streaming channels, but they are downloading content and making sure internet is switched off, and they are giving them to them. So many incidences have happened like that, and parents are now cautious that children are not exposed to any such things, even violence also, even certain cartoons like Tom and Jerry. See, always fight with each other. They don't have that maturity. They always think that, we have to fight with each other or someone. And one similar case study happened, to one boy who saw the Tom and Jerry most of the time, and he started, treating the same way his younger brother. And he says he's Tom and his younger brother is Jerry, and he abused, he thrashed, many times. Unfortunately, that is the most unfortunate thing that has happened, and he just replicated what Tom and Jerry cartoon he saw on his brother. Just imagine what could have happened. Same thing what Tom did to Jerry, he did to his younger brother. Now just imagine what might have happened. And that younger brother, unfortunately, he just saved from that, deathbed. And later on, they realized what was happening. But luckily, it was just a fortunate that he could be saved. Otherwise, that baby could have end up in somewhere, and they could have lost one, child. So similar things, many things are happening, but not are being reported or not coming into news. So there are a lot of side effects. Some people are learning. There is no doubt. There is some positive things. There are some constructive things that are happening. At the same time, there are also a lot of negative things. There are a lot of, such things are happening. And kids are being exposed to extreme violence, extreme, these kind of things, especially unwanted things like, for shopping also. A lot of ads come and they show to throw temper tantrums. That only if you buy that, I will eat. Only if you buy that, I will drink. Like this, these all things are happening. So you should be very careful, especially when you're giving gadgets. Make sure, even if you are watching YouTube, make sure you are downloading YouTube Kids. And that also, you ensure that age-restricted content is strictly there. And even that also ensure that you are subscribing to the paid content, because paid plans don't have ads. In that way, we can avoid ads. But again, if you are giving free content, they have a lot of ads. And again, that can expose your child to unwanted things. So these are, that's how first people make you to use, and then slowly they put all these things, and they will make you to buy and subscribe. That's what happens. That is a business strategy. We all know it. Anyway, we'll not get into much detail. So we love our family. With our family's ups and downs or misunderstandings, they will always try their best to be there for us. Family is always precious. So perfect family day can be the perfect time to strengthen the bond between your family. If you have kids, it's time for them to strengthen the bond between siblings. It's our responsibility as parents to perfect our family. Improving our parenting skills is one of the ways to achieve it. Today is also commemorated as Uruguay Constitution Day. So taking notes from French and American revolutions, the Constitution split government powers among the executive, legislature and judiciary arms, and which was forced until 1918 and was drafted by General Constituent and Legislative Assembly of the state. So officially it is known as Oriental Republic of Uruguay, which is located in South America. It declared itself independent of Brazil on August 25th, 1825. But the country's independence was only recognized on August 27th, 1828, when the Treaty of Montevideo was signed at the end of 3-year-long Cisplatin War. So the outcome was Brazil and Argentina agreed to recognize Uruguay as an independent buffer state between them. The country adopted its first constitution on July 18th, 1830. So apart from that, we have a few more commemorations. Yeah. So we have monthly commemorations. This month is also recognized. With various commemorations. So let's look at a few commemorations. So this month is also recognized as Hitchhiking Month. So is an opportunity to go back to one of the oldest means of traveling. Like, it's like a kind of lift. Generally, people ask, on the roadside, they keep asking lift. So it's a kind of asking strangers. You honor this method by asking strangers to help you to get to your destination. So be aware that it may not be the safest option in some countries and some places. So consider what you decide to hit the road and rely on the kindness of the strangers. So hitchhiking can teach us a lot, including trusting people, learning from those different from us, understanding one another, and enjoying the journey with new friends. So let's dive into the history of hitchhiking to understand how important of a movement it is for traveling now and in the past. So naturally, climbing into a stranger's car has not always been such a gamble. Society has embraced hitchhiking for years. In the US, it is still a popular means of transport, especially for the poorer, less privileged members of the society. But many young people and backpackers have tried to reignite this tradition, although it's not always permitted. For example, hitchhiking is not illegal in most states of the US, but this isn't the case for parts of Italy and United Kingdom, for instance. So this month is also commemorated as Independent Retailer Month. About small business during Independent Retailer Month, which is celebrated throughout July. It is dedicated to the social and economic boosters of the society that promote sustainable living in our cities and towns. We are talking about none other than our friendly neighbor, corner shops, and all around dependent retailers. Small businesses can be considered as one of the backbones of not only America's economy, but the world economy at large. And according to Census Bureau and Small Business Administration, approximately 51% of the US workforce is employed by independent retailers. So this month is also commemorated as International Group B Strep Awareness Month to raise awareness among healthcare providers, parents and future parents, and anyone involved in perinatal research group about Group B Streps, GBS. So GBS is a type of bacteria that naturally exists in the gut and lower reproductive tracts of both men and women. However, if found in babies and infants, GBS leads to sepsis and meningitis. It is actually one of the most serious infections that causes newborn illness and death worldwide. Approximately 1 in 4 pregnant women carry GBS. Studies show that babies can be infected by GBS before birth and up to 6 months of age due to their poorly developed immune system. So this strep bacteria can be classified as Group A, Streptococcus, and Group B, Streptococcus. So GBS exists harmlessly in the gastrointestinal and genital tracts of adults, but it can be dangerous when it infects the newborns. It may lead to serious illness like bacteremia and sepsis, bone and joint infections, meningitis, and pneumonia. In the United States, GBS is a serious menace. In the most common cause of neonatal sepsis, meningitis, and other infections. Pregnant women are screened for it during the 3rd trimester. GBS can move from lower GI tract and vaginal canal during the cervix and the uterus to affect the gestational tissues. Then it may invade into the amniotic sac and cause inflammation of the placenta. This can not only induce preterm delivery and stillbirth, but can also damage and injury to fetal organs. If detected in time, GBS infections can be prevented. Doctors prescribe prophylactic antibiotics to pregnant women to prevent any severe damage to the fetus. But unfortunately, this treatment also has several side effects. Perinatal antibiotic exposure may hinder the development of a healthy microbiome and weaken the infant's immune system. Although prophylactic antibiotic use may prevent dangerous outcomes from GBS, it is also makes the body more susceptible to other forms of streptococcus. GBS infection can also be prevented by various immune responses in the vaginal and intestinal epithelium and mucosa. A healthy immune system is vital to a baby, so it's important to look for treatments that do not disrupt their natural immunity. A Group B test is generally done between weeks 36 and 37 of pregnancy. Anyone can get GBS disease, but being at certain age or having certain medical conditions can put you at increased risk for GBS disease. Group B, strep, is not a sexually transmitted disease and cannot be transmitted through sexual activities. So you can volunteer to raise awareness and spread information among your family, friends, and co-workers about GBS and its effects on babies and infants. And some facts about babies on this day. Babies pee a lot. A baby might pee once, up to once every 20 minutes. Again, it varies from baby to baby, but this is on an average in general. And most babies are born midweek. Numbers show that most babies are born on Tuesday or somewhere in the midweek, generally. Babies aren't eco-friendly. A baby will use up to 2,700 nappies in a year. So that is causing a huge waste, a creation of waste, which can create an environment hazard. But earlier it was fine somehow, but people, are using diapers for every child and it is also affecting. But earlier you try not to use diapers. Train children to you as early as possible. Toilet training should be provided. And even if they are too early to get toilet trained, so always, it's always better that they will have developed this bowel and bladder control if they don't use diapers. Often we see those who use diapers, they develop this bladder control and bowel control later than those who do not use, because they can feel that wetness. So that's why, they try to control as early as possible. But those children with diapers, they don't feel that wetness and they continue to, they take more time to achieve this bowel and bladder control. That is one of the studies says. It may not be true always, but most of the time it is so. On an average, a baby consumes 15 pounds of cereals every year. So babies love cereal and it is also very much required. And an adult has 206 bones while a baby has 300. So initially there are bones, but later on, these bones join together, form a single bone or, compound bone structure. So this month also encourages us to trust medicine and healthcare and progress it has made through the years. Timely treatment of GBS can save lives. So this month is also commemorated as International Women with Alopecia Month. So it aims to raise awareness about women living with alopecia, or however it is mentioned in different countries, it is pronounced in different way. So one of the most common types is hair loss. It is caused by autoimmune disruption, wherein the body attacks its own hair follicles, and there are several types of alopecia. But the most common ones are alopecia areata and androgenetic alopecia. So this day, International Women with Alopecia Month, was started by Bald Girls to Launch, BGDL, an organization dedicated to raising awareness about alopecia. So BGDL offers women with alopecia a community of supporting women. So in short, not making it too complex, it is all about losing hair because of the immune system attacking the hair follicles. So it is an autoimmune disruption, the most common types of hair loss, the most common types of alopecia or alopecia areata, that is spot baldness, and androgenetic alopecia, that is female pattern hair loss, and condition has no cure. So possible risk factors include psychological stress and illness, and cause of alopecia seems to be breach in the immune privilege of hair follicles. This means that the body fails to recognize its own cells and subsequently destroy hair follicles. So the term alopecia was first used in ancient Greece from the word alopex, which means fox. The first ever mention of alopecia area was in the book in 1664, Medicina Practica, written by the Polish John Johnston. In the West, we have all these mentions in Ayurveda, but when we are talking, this commemoration is in the West. So it took many years for humans to understand the cause of alopecia areata. Among the existing theories, 19th century beliefs attributed the condition to the parasite, which, while questions about it being neurotropic, abounded. Recent studies have also pinpointed an autoimmune error. So alopecia can affect people of all ages, but most cases appear before age of 40. Blue is a ribbon color for alopecia for promotion or creating awareness. Talogen effluvium is a type of temporary hair loss. So hair is mostly made up of keratin. So a fast-growing tissue is the one, in the body is our hair, the second fastest growing tissue in our body. All visible hair contains dead cells, and black is the most common hair color, and red is the rarest natural hair color. So this day provides opportunity for everyone to learn more. And today is also, this month is also commemorated as International Zion Month around the world as a way of promoting independent publishing business. They often publish for the sake of education and giving a platform to lesser known writers without the intent of minting profit. Zines also keep the library culture thriving and are closely connected to several cultural movements. They are growing in popularity thanks to Zines going online and some even releasing audio formats. This month celebrates all the unique ways in which we read and engage with fellow book nerds. So Zines are usually handmade, self-published titles to raise awareness, and they aren't sold to make profits. Zines can be made at home with simple tools like pencils, markers, or pens. You can also print copies at home to give it a real book-like feel. International Zion Month also celebrates underground magazines and fanzines that are quickly becoming popular in libraries. Zion culture has spanned science fiction and real movement of the 1990s. POC movements and even those in LGBTQ plus community, Zines have successfully tackled personal and political matters and shaped the opinions of hundreds of people. In simple, it is writing, creating your own book and circulating them. As simple as that, to easily understand. So the Zine movement is ever growing, and soon enough libraries across America will have dedicated Zine collection on their shelves. So this month is also commemorated as Juvenile Arthritis Awareness Month in US, as just like as older people who are affected with arthritis, children get it too. That's why observing Juvenile Arthritis Awareness Month in July is so important. Founded by Arthritis Foundation, this campaign aims to raise awareness about the condition and share resources to help those affected by it. With kids, arthritis affects not just joints, but other organs too. Their immune system attacks their joints, causing swelling, stiffness, and sometimes permanent damage, which can get worse if left untreated. Even though the name arthritis itself relates to the joints, it means joint inflammation. In Latin, juvenile arthritis can affect the eyes, skin, and gastrointestinal tract. So it was used in the West, first described in 18th century by pediatrician Frederick Still. So acceptance for this illness took much longer. However, it was only until a century later that a specialized center for juvenile rheumatism was established in Berkshire. The center's original purpose was to treat people affected with rheumatic fever, which was prevalent in the years following the Second World War. As hygiene and nutrition improved, the disease declined. Soon the center turned its attention towards children and juvenile arthritis, which is known as Still's disease. Back then, Dr. Barbara Anson from the center was the first to recognize that the development of this disease, its progression and response to treatment were different for different people. This unit operated for 39 years, has greatly contributed to the causes and outcomes of juvenile arthritis treatment we see today. This month is also commemorated as National Bison Month in US. These majestic mammals have been around for centuries and are celebrated throughout the United States out of respect for being such peaceful animals. So we want to go to full bison this month and embrace their unique appearance, calming personalities, and utterly cute shapes. Get ready to learn more about them. Africa might be known for its buffaloes and wild beasts, but the United States has gentle furry giants known as bison. Two living bison species are left, American bison and the lesser-known European bison. After seeing skins and drawings shown to him by Nipissing First Nation members, the French explorer Samuel D. Chaplin used the term buffalo to describe the bison he observed in 1616. A few years later, in 1625, buffalo first appeared in the English language in North America when it was applied to an American mammal. The term buffalo derives from the French word bœuf, which was given to bison by French fur trappers working in the United States. Later on, bison was first used in 1774, and to this day, it is still used to refer to this species. So the American bison was named the country's national mammal back in 2016. And since then, the month of July has been dubbed National Bison Month. The day especially celebrates the comeback of this majestic animal, as there was a time in which it was nearly became extinct. So this month is also commemorated as National Cell Phone Courtesy Month. As it is exactly what it is all about, to create awareness regarding the habits we have formed since technological innovation took over our lives. It is possible to say that nowadays a man's best friend is a cell phone. And there are certain rules we must conform to if we want to create a more mindful society. As since cell phones have become such an essential part of our lives, we find it impossible to detach ourselves from this device. This means we are looking at our cell phone screens while on date, while eating, during meetings and gatherings, and sometimes even in the toilet. When this behavior feels normal, the fact is people around us will often judge us for our lack of cell phone etiquette. So, for instance, using a mobile phone during an employment interview could even cost someone the job. Keeping these factors in mind, Jacqueline Whitmore, a manners expert from Palm Beach, Florida, created National Cell Phone Courtesy Month in 2002. So this move was taken seriously by Jacqueline, who is an international etiquette expert who also founded the Protocol School of Palm Beach in 1998. Some of the issues brought forward by her included the amount of time a cell phone is used every day, If the device is used while driving or at social gatherings, the sending text messages when angry, it is an analysis of the simple habits that actually determine our addiction to our cell phones and to what extent mobile phone etiquette is being surpassed. So according to the study published in 2015, 77% of all adults in the US believe it is okay for people to use their cell phones while walking down the street, whereas 75% support the use of phones on public transit. Now you know why people seated next to you on a train continues to have loud private conversations without even thinking if they are being a bother. Today is this month is also commemorated as National Child-Centered Diverse Month. Is not exactly as the event most people look forward to be, given the sadness usually associated with parents and parting ways. However, it is an important month to observe as it brings awareness to the most ideal or the most effective ways parents can handle diverse when it comes to their children's mental health. People have always been and will continue getting diverse, but kids are suffering the most in the process, and is also an unchanging fact, especially if parents do not deal with it the best way. So, in diverse case, everyone is affected. Parents, kids, and even the couple's friends, family have a hard time going through the process. Yet, the suffering of a child is usually incomparable to others. They often wouldn't understand what is happening. They think adults are fighting because of them, and that is their fault, and especially with the older kids. So this National Child-Centered Diverse Month was founded by Rosalind Sedeka, a certified corporate trainer and author of the book, How Do I Tell Kids About the Diverse? Statistics have shown that the month of January is in fact when the most divorces are filed, with many experts stating that some parties filing for divorce are looking to start a new life. Sedeka's book is a how-to guide on creating a storybook that can prepare children for the divorce in a loving and caring way. She also established a child-centered divorce network for parents with a diverse group of therapists, attorneys, mediators, divorce coaches, and educators to achieve the most positive and harmonious outcomes for families undergoing divorce. Since 2008, January has been dedicated to educating parents worldwide that their choices do impact their kids' mental and physical health, affecting them for years to come if a divorce is not handled the best way. Some go-to pointers for parents going through a divorce include communicating to your kids that none of it is their fault, that both parents still love them and always will, and that everything is going to be okay despite the changes. So 6 to 12 years olds in elementary school, this is arguably the most challenging age for the children to deal with their parent separation or divorce. That's because they are old enough to recall the good times or good feelings they shared as a family. In most cases, the answer is to better stay together for a child. In short term, children thrive in stable, secure homes with two parents who adore them and each other. Separation is unsettling, stressful, and destabilizing unless there is a parental abuse or conflict. Children who have experienced divorce are more likely to develop empathy for others. When children who have experienced divorce see others, they care about struggling. It often resonates more with them and they become more accepting of various problems and situations others face. In Australia's traditional Aboriginal culture, a woman seeking a divorce may end her existing marriage immediately by saying, "I do," to another man. In Japan, if men wants to remarry after a divorce, they can do so whenever they want, whereas the woman must wait up to 6 months. With Catholic laws being among the most stringent, getting a divorce in Vatican City is not permitted. So Catholics often can't divorce in Catholic City. Couples have to legally separate for 4 years before being eligible to divorce in Malta. Though in India, we have different things that there are certain provisions where you can get immediately divorced, but generally it takes 6 months to 1 year, because that is a period where, basically court also doesn't want anyone to get divorced. They want to, because there will be always differences, ups and downs. So there will be hard times. So they want, they will refer to family counselors and all those things. It will take time, but if there is a serious consequence or there is any pressing issue, then divorce are also granted at the earliest. And incompatibility or growing apart is the most common reason for divorce globally at 44%. Generally, we are not adjusting to ourselves, and either of one spouse is highly demanding or highly judgmental or highly discriminative, highly differentiative. All these are creating a lot of issues, especially in the case of divorce. And couples with children have a much harder job when it comes to deciding to get a divorce. It is imperative that they know how to best communicate this change to their children in a way that it will not alarm or hurt them. Knowing the rights and right avenues is very important. Often people don't know how to go about filing a divorce or how to deal with the aftermath once they have made the decision. Regardless of whether there are children involved, there are ways to make this process easier and more efficient. It is important to find resources to help them to do so, which is part of the discussion. So this month is also celebrated as National Cleft and Craniofacial Awareness and Prevention Month in US. So it is an opportunity to raise awareness and improve understanding of orofacial clefts of the lip and palate, and other conditions of the head and face. In the United States, approximately 2,600 babies are born with a left cleft palate and 4,400 babies are born with a cleft lip, or with or without a cleft palate each year. So there are other craniofacial birth defects, including craniosynostosis and skull sutures fusing permanently, or anotia microtia. Ear is missing or underdeveloped, and anophthalmia or microphthalmia, missing or abnormally small eye. Orofacial clefts and other craniofacial conditions have negative effects on children's ability to feed and their language development. These children might be at increased risk for a greater number of ear infections, hearing issues, and problems with their teeth because of the costs associated with the treatment of orofacial clefts. Improving the health of these children is an important public health goal. There are many centers of diagnosis all over the world. They are working to better understand the preventable causes of the clefts, craniofacial object defects. It is also important to know how these conditions affect the children and their families by focusing on risk factors, healthcare service use, access to care, quality of life, health outcomes, and management and treatment of these conditions. To help reduce the chances of having a baby with a orofacial cleft or other craniofacial condition, healthcare providers must encourage patients who are thinking about becoming pregnant to commit to a healthy lifestyle. Among certain healthy habits, we have to control diabetes, quit smoking, exercise regularly, practice yoga, etc. before becoming pregnant. Moreover, healthcare providers should also work with prospective parents to make it informed decisions about medical treatment during pregnancy. This condition can occur in the first 3 months of pregnancy. Therefore, steps before becoming pregnant are essential for the health of the baby. So with this, we shall conclude the sessions here. Thank you everyone for joining. Those who have not registered for the webinar, we have shared the joining link, registration link in the chat box, and we request everyone to fill up the feedback form. Feedback form has been shared in the form of Zoom polls. So we have 5 minutes. So we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. It is mandatory for receiving your certificates. Registration, participation, filling up the feedback form every day for every event, as you will be getting separate certificates for each event. And all certificates will be issued at once, not like earlier. We'll be issuing all at once. So keep attending and keep completing formalities on a day-to-day basis. Don't worry about the certificates. Whenever they are issued, you can download them from the website. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Before leaving, make sure you are filling up the feedback form. So see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Take care. Good night. And there is an important announcement for the today's conference, which was held on 15th and 16th. Feedback form has been sent to email address and also updated on website, but we have seen many did not fill the feedback form. So we request everyone, those who have attended, to quickly fill up the feedback form, check your emails. Certificates will be generated in a day or two. And we have next upcoming conference on July 29th and 30th. That is the next Saturday and Sunday, not this Saturday and Sunday, next, the last week of July, 29th and 30th. The flyer has been already circulated on Facebook. So you can also register. The registration form will be shared soon. It is already updated on the website. So feedback form has been raised in the form of polls. If you are not able to see, you can access it from the menu, polls or quizzes, or you can just quickly log out and log in so that you can access the form and quickly fill up and submit the form. Those who are interested to make presentations or interested to participate, we request everyone to register and also circulate the registration forms to your friends and social circles. So thank you once again. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.